Platform interoperability and extensibility applies to industry as it relates to needing to be much more inclusive, not only inclusive of the devices that you're going to be integrating into systems, inclusive of the people that are going to be involved in those systems, and inclusive of the other systems. And so having a general open stance for interoperability and extensibility means that now I can take two pieces of software and make sure that they can either exchange information or exchange transactions or whatever is necessary to integrate those pieces together, as well as the extensibility where people can take our platform and take our platform components and build upon that. Very often we'll have technology partners or system integrator partners which will create an extension of their own business by building on top of our platform.
I think it's about having different tools, the right tools for different jobs, but still have a seamless way to integrate those tools and integrate the information across different levels of the automation system, from embedded systems, HMI, SCADA, all the way up to the enterprise.
Yeah, extensibility is also about taking the platform and applying it for across the industry. So this is exactly the industry solution is doing right now, taking the platform, applying it for infrastructures, water, wastewaters, and so on and so forth. So extensibility is a design principle of our platform. So it has two aspects. One is how do we build a function? The other aspect is how efficient of using the platform in doing the engineering. So in these two aspects, I think the technology that we provide cover all these two aspects very well.
I think that the extensibility also has to do with how open you are to different technologies coming into the market, new technologies, and how fast you adopt them. So I think our platform excels in basically taking these new technologies in and making it fast adoptable within the platform.
Platform interoperability and extensibility I expect to change greatly in the next 10 years. I often try to relate us back to, I say that the current state of industrial software is kind of what I would call the BlackBerry phase. BlackBerry it was kind of a middle phase after phones began to start to do more things. It wasn't very comfortable. You know, I could open a PowerPoint diagram inside or a PowerPoint presentation in a BlackBerry, but it's not something I wanted to do. Now in the current era of smartphones, that now you add and you have access to so many things, and it's very natural. That's where I believe that this open area of extensibility and interoperability is going to change in this industry, so that now customers, when we speak to them, they talk about needing to train their software engineers, not their software engineers, their operations staff on 15 different pieces of software on average. And HMI and SCADA may be one, but they may have other areas which are basics, like kind of IT stuff. They have the email, places where they have to do like their scheduling, or other cases where they have to do things like sample management or standard operating procedures or business systems, but these are so many different systems that today are completely islanded. And so ultimately in the next 10 years, I have a full expectation that in industry, people are going to have an expectation that from whatever device, they want to have access to all different types of information in real time with contextual access. Contextual access meaning I want to have a jumping off point. If I'm trying to accomplish a task right now, bring me the other information that's associated with that and don't make me search for it.
I think expectation is the main driving point. New generations come to the market will have different expectations in user interface, ease of use, connectivity. One example I use a lot is if you go to the consumer market, for many years you expect that if you buy a TV from vendor A and a DVD player, Blu-ray player from vendor B, they connect, right, in a seamless manner. Industrial automation, for many, many years, the expectation was most likely they will not connect, or if they connect, you have to do a lot of jobs, use gateways, hardware, software, and so on. So in the future, I think the same expectation that we have in the consumer market, that complementing products from different vendors easily connect to each other, the same expectation will be in automation kind of systems. So you can pick and choose different components from different vendors and still very easily complement each other and integrate each other. And it goes beyond industrial automation, especially with the connection between IT and OT. Not only HMI SCADA systems to controllers, but also databases, cloud systems, ERP systems.
And those consumer technologies are driving the expectations of the staffing that people are bringing in. These people come in with smartphones in their pockets that are able to do a lot of these things on computer aspects. I can go directly from a web page and place a phone call. I mean, those things interoperate and they're used to those types of things. But then to come into an industrial system and go, wait a minute, it doesn't talk to anything, or I don't have contextual access to these other things. Yeah. And so it's really going to also be making sure that we not only meet but exceed the expectations of the users of the systems.
So the expectation is like what they talk about is about empowering the operators, empowering the users of the system with the right information to act upon the actions that they will be carry on, the impact that they will be working on to improve their efficiency, to improve the cost of operations and so on and so forth. So we have seen a lot of our customers begin to realize that the system that they have in the past is not able to basically embrace the mobile technologies that today's everybody is trying to use, all right, and bring your own devices to work and so on and so forth. So all these connectivities, all these extensibilities of embracing all these technologies, the mobile technology, the cloud technologies, all this will empower the operations.
Yeah. And I think he picked exactly what I was going to say. But I think the piece in that is that the amount of effort required to accomplish something. If you look at technology, early technologies that come out, for example, the Windows CE phones, they had all the technology that Apple had, but they were not adopted in the way that Apple had because it required a lot of effort to use them and a lot of complexity. So adoption of technology is good, but without making it easy and simple to use and effortless for a user, at that point you gain the adoption. So for us, it's really key towards the future, to whatever technology comes at us, to turn it around and make it effortless to implement in our system. And that way we can empower our users at any level, if that's an SI or an end user, as long as we make it easy to use these new features, they will be adopted on a larger scale. Once it takes a lot of effort, then the adoption rate goes down.
Right, and easy both on the engineering side, but also on the consumption of the information during the runtime, right?
Exactly.
I heard from one customer once that I go to Google, I Google for something, I get all this information about different databases, but when I go to automation system today and I try to find information about a particular equipment, it's very hard because the systems are not connected to each other, right? And I don't have a natural way to find the information I'm looking for. So I think this kind of expectation that you have more and more a natural way to consume information from different databases is what's going to play a big role in modern systems.
Absolutely. Some of the reasons why our customers require extensibility of the platform and interoperability is often as they try to address things that are either very specific to their business or in a wider range of scope. This also kind of ties into the overall maturity of an organization. If an organization is largely just doing it as pilot device replacement, this typically is not as important to them. But the more and more they're trying to integrate their real-time systems into their business and their overall business operations, they need that extensibility. So if they have to integrate into business systems, or if they want to do other things, they want to notify people that are off-site, or they want to be able to bring in access to these components, or they want to be able to do things that are very specific. I'm going to bring a chart that does something very specific to how I analyze data. All those things, if we have an extensible system, then they can customize and tailor these solutions to themselves, as well as address the scope of all things that they're trying to accomplish within their business.
Yeah, so for us, the extensibility is crucial because the more we are agnostic, the better people will be able to create a holistic view of the assets that they have. And that's why extensibility towards a platform is a key component, because without that, we can't be a platform. So it's very, very crucial to have to have early adoption of new protocols and things like that and integrate it into the system.
Right, and all the projects, all the systems evolve over time. So without extensibility, many times the customer is in a position where they are stuck with an outdated system, or they have to make a huge investment to redo a new system for the new requirements. With extensibility, they can leverage on the original investment in the system and build on top of that as requirements and technologies evolve.
Yeah, exactly. This is to prevent the one bang approach for implementing the whole system. We can have a modular functionality, extend the system in a modular way. So in that case, to minimize the engineering risk as well as minimize the cost of the engineering. So extensibility on the other aspect is about efficiency of the engineering. The platform provides the technologies to allow the system integrators to use the platforms to build up the system over the time, according to the needs of the end users, according to the needs of the customer.
And as we start talking about the ability to address that need for interoperability at a level similar to that of consumer devices, and the ability to address things like IT and OT convergence and converging that information technology and the operational technology into a seamless experience without the proper degree of extensibility, those things will just be very difficult. Those things can be achieved today, but they're extremely expensive to establish and difficult to maintain and hard to train people on. So as Rob alluded to earlier with regards to making systems easier to use, that all comes together to form one vision.